dialogue. We gon' tell the truth, we ain't scared like a lot of y'all. Matters who they are, do we bow? No. Not at all. Dropping bombs on this wicked world, so it gotta fall underground. Underground dialogue. We gon' tell the truth, we ain't scared like a lot of y'all. Matters who they are, do we bow? No. Not at all. Dropping bombs on this wicked world, so it gotta fall. From the industry to the Oval Office, we expose the darkest motives of them all and disclose what the protocol is. Thinking and moving logical, stopping every maneuver possible, and apologizing for truth is not optional. We gon' help you with what you go through, reshape and mold you, and sweep over them weak lies they told you. If you living with no clue, we gon' deprogram the old you, and you get to keep your soul too.
Hey, it's your big brother K-Rino.
It's your boy Keith Stove.
And you were tuned in to another episode of the Underground Dialogue Podcast where the name speaks for itself, man.
Thanks.
Hey, man, look, we are in the building tonight, man. Before we get into our guests, man, our esteemed guests, we got to welcome back my brother, man. Young Pro on the end.
Young Pro in the
Hey, what's up, man? Young Pro in the building. What's up, OG? You know, man, long time no see. We got to get some work back in, man.
It's you, man. You know, y'all probably remember Pro from the K-Rino radio days, man. You know, my brother been out there in Cali doing his thing, man, and now he's back in the H.
Back in the H town. Put his arm right here too. You know what I'm
Hitting the ground running.
Hit the ground running, man.
Sure, no question.
Absolutely.
Man. But you know what, man? Tonight we got a legend in the building, and this is one of those scenarios where you may say we know his work, but we might not necessarily recognize the face that's attached to the work. This brother here has done photography and done graphics for some of the greatest, most iconic artists in the game, particularly in the city of Houston. Recognizable artwork that has become a staple in this city, in this region, in this culture. This is the man behind all that. He has worked with Swisher House. He's worked Slim Thug, Bun B,
20 to Life.
20 to
Southpaw
Life,
Mexican.
Keep going, man. Keep going, man.
Paul
Wall. Come on, man. This brother here is a fixture in the H-Town culture, but he does it from that behind the scenes, behind the camera position. I want to welcome Mr. Mike Frost onto the show. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. Y'all, thanks for having me. Appreciate that introduction.
Man, it really was light because, you know, you've done so much over the years that, you know, the introduction would have took too long if we really would have. So we thankful to have you here, man. Man, let's get right into it.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one,
yeah. Without a doubt, man.
Especially for me, man.
Without a doubt. What got you into the photography? Which came first? I'm sure the photography came first. Which came first, the photography or the graphics? What got you into all that, bro?
Man, the graphics came first. So I worked at a comic book store.
Okay.
And a bunch of my friends from the north side were in like rock bands that played at Fitzgerald's. But we'd all like hang at the comic book store and draw pictures. So I was trying to do a comic book. And then I got a computer, and this guy named Josh Maris from a band, he was in a band called Los Canarles, was doing a zine back, you know, the little paper magazine people used to do, underground magazines?
Yeah, okay, you know that.
They were, you would run it off at Kiko's and make a little, you know, make their own magazine. So I submitted some art to him, and he came and gave me Photoshop. So I started trying to make a comic book.
Yeah. What year was that? When was that?
That's probably 1994.
Oh, okay.
94, 93, comic book day in 92, 91.
Right. And that evolved into you just doing the graphics or how did that?
You know, and then so I somehow made up my mind when I was young, I wanted to make art, but what I always did was I always listen to music, and I realized like all my ideas came from whatever I was taking in.
Yeah.
So you know, we were going to the rave parties. I was doing like a lot of the flyers for all the rave parties back in the day too. Then just where I grew up and stuff, one of my homeboys, Orbit, came to me one day and was like, "Man, would you do my album cover for our band, the Kamikazes?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it."
Right.
Did you ever go to school for any of this?
No, I just taught myself.
Self-taught.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
See, because that's the talent. That's raw talent.
Yeah.
Just honing itself and build. It's like go to school. That's cool. You know, get the technical side of it, but that God-given raw side, you can't beat that.
What's like one of the first applications you used once you started to put it on computer to I always wondered, like, what's the old, was Photoshop the first one? Way back then?
Photoshop was the first, yeah.
The first one? Okay.
I mean, Microsoft Paint was first.
Oh, yeah, now you took it back.
I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm like,
Microsoft Paint,
Yeah.
but you ain't making much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Photoshop was the first. It really wasn't much better than Microsoft Paint at the time, too.
Okay, so you taught yourself.
It was still bad.
So you taught yourself photography
Yeah.
and graphics at the same time.
Yeah, coding too, recorder.
God damn it.
when did the photography come in? Because that's when I really started to like the time that I came with KB. When you did the thing from KB to Kidnapper, and I seen how you had your setup, man, and the whole one-stop shopping with the green screen and all that stuff. There, when did the photography come along?
So the photography, the first actual photo shoot I ever did for an album myself, I believe, was the Gorilla Mob Resurrected.
Oh, you did that one?
Yeah.
Look,
God damn it.
look.
Yeah.
Let me do this real quick.
You want to run them down?
I'm gonna run him down.
Okay.
He did, like you said, a 20 to life.
I know Slim Thug already platinum, right?
All the way back to Boys in Blue. I forget the name of the album, but it was like 3 CDs that went together. And Having Things, #1.
Bro, listen. He did. I got it wrote down. He did the Devin the Dude, the To the Extreme album. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that one.
The Day Hell Broke Loose.
Okay.
The Swisher House.
Yep, remember that one too.
Okay, he said the Boys in Blue.
Yeah.
He did the Gorilla Mob with Dougie and Trey, the Year
Yeah, I
the
remember that
Underdog.
one. Yeah.
The Year the Underdog, that one. The Hawk album, the one just HAWK.
When you squat down?
Yeah. When they were sitting there, some people
He was
sitting in the
sitting down on the
background.
couch in the back.
Oh, yeah.
The People's Champ, Paul Wall,
Remember
cover.
that? That's a hard one.
The self-titled Zero, the KMJ cover.
Okay, I remember that one.
Yeah, he did that. See, now I found out that like he did like these are kind of recognizable, identifiable covers. Hold on, I ain't through yet. He did that Bitty Cook, that Superstar, the Do or Die album. The Do or Die. He did the Zero, Let the Truth Be Told, the South Park Mexican, the Reveille Park album.
Okay.
The Big Mellow, The Gift. See, I didn't know you did. I didn't know you did
I
that.
know you said you did 20 to life.
Mike Jones.
Which one 20 to life?
The
First one or the second?
No, I think it was the second one.
With Master
It was
P
the
on
second. I forgot the name of the project, but
Roofing It.
Nah, I think it was just self-titled.
20 to life.
20 Life.
Was it in front of a prison guard? Was it like in front of the prison?
Well, they always in
It
front of prison.
was out in the streets.
Okay, that's the second one then. Yeah, that's the second one.
It's like bluish. And
Yeah, that's the second one. That's the hard one.
But the point is, and what we want to do when this episode is airing, we're gonna show these covers. And so when y'all see him, y'all gonna be like, oh, he did that. Oh, he did that. I mean, this dude is, when I say he is woven into the culture, everybody talk about the rappers.
Yeah.
Everybody talk about the guys that you see out front. The work that you have done, bro. I mean, that's some timeless legacy stuff that we're talking about, bro.
Yeah.
What do you ever look back and just say, man, I did all, I can't believe I did all that.
I don't think I like matured to understand what it actually meant to everybody until, because like when the music industry crashed, I actually went through like, I had to go get a job at Exxon, I had kids, I had to actually give up all that stuff.
Right.
Like went through like a depression, didn't really think about it. It was more just like,
Right, living life.
living life.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I gotta survive. I'll get to that later.
but then I just snapped out of it and I got back on it. And then when I started like, that Devin acoustic levitation.
Oh, yeah.
So I came back and started doing covers, but now I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick what I want to do and be more like artistic and creative and like but when I was going around doing stuff, I just I started to pick up on like every time I was talking to somebody, they were telling me a story about their life.
Right.
And it just, after like a year or two, I started posting on Instagram and more of it came. And then I actually realized like actually how much the music on the album, the image associates them with that, and associates with the emotions of the time and their own memories.
Come on, man.
Because at that time, that was the time where CD covers, that generation is where we put so much into reading the back of it. And so we listening to it, but this whole time we listen to it, Okay, and we reading the back of it. We checking what's in the folds, who he's shouting out, and the graphics went hand in hand with that.
And even more than that too, like I still remember having like the Chronic 2001 on my wall.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I used to take the booklets out the CDs, the NWAs. You know what I'm saying? Get the artwork when you buy the CD, the Bone Thugs, 1999. You turn them, take it, and it was like a badge of honor. It was like, okay,
try to play the Ouija board.
No, it's crazy. But now you take the album artwork and it becomes those miniature posters. You know what I'm saying? And you put that on your wall, and next thing you know, it's like, shit, you got a whole collage of just dope artists. And somebody come over to your house, they're like, yo, what is CDs? I'm like, oh, you ain't heard this?
Yeah.
You ain't up on this? Let me play it for you real quick. Yeah. But the artwork definitely was always like eye-catching to me.
Do you have like a wall with all your work or some kind of thing to commemorate or just show like this is all me?
I'm putting it back up.
Yeah.
So I did that art show at Swisher House last year.
Yeah.
And now I've got giant canvases all over the place. But I've saved a couple boxes of just, not everything, man. I've got maybe 10% of my stuff, but it's a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
So I can I got framed. I've been buying stuff back off eBay.
Yeah.
Whenever
Buy
I
your
see
own
it.
stuff back, man. That's cool.
It's getting expensive now.
I know, man. I can imagine, man. How many covers you think you've done? Do you know the number, or could you guess and get close?
I mean, I was, when you count mixtape covers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
over 1,000.
Jesus.
That's a lot of graphics.
That's a lot of graphics.
Because Pro, me and Pro was talking before you got here about stuff like that. Do they give you some kind of royalty or something when you was coming in at that time?
I never actually signed away copyrights on any of the photos or anything.
Right.
So I own all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so question, right? Not to cut you off.
Here we go.
Here's a question for you, right? So I've seen it now to where you have the producers, they get royalties. Even the audio engineers, the people that do the mixing and mastering, they get royalties, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to start pushing for graphic designers to start getting royalties off of these projects they're pushing out, because a lot of times the artwork that goes with it is just as iconic as the music.
Yeah, right.
But it's like you get your, they pay you whatever, $100, $200, whatever they pay you, $500, whatever they pay you, and then you're done. You're out the loop. But that piece of art is still out there forever. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to see some type of compensation for the graphic designers moving forward in the music industry, especially because everything is all digitized now.
Yeah.
And once it's on the internet, it's there forever. You know what I mean?
It'd be nice if I actually had like some sort of royalty coming off that stuff.
Even if it's 1%, some of them albums that you worked on sold millions of copies, bro.
Even so if it was enough to where just bills were paid and I could just sit and be creative all day.
Yeah.
Like, because I would just sit and be creative all day.
Or use it for NFT or something.
Yeah, I would just,
and that's what I was going. Yeah.
Because let me tell you, you're in the room with two graphic artists. We both graduated from the same art school at the same time. So we invested in it because we lived it. Yeah. And I stopped messing with artists because of the fact it wasn't profitable enough for me.
Yeah. When I actually came back into it, because when I was doing it with back in the day, I was getting good money for the covers.
Yeah.
Like, when all the major covers that came out, it's kind of sad that everything crashed because, I was getting 20, 30 grand.
Shut up, bro.
For a cover and the photos. Money. But back then, like major labels, they didn't understand the concept of one guy doing the photos and doing the design and doing all the marketing like here. Because I went to Atlantic and I was like, oh, here's my portfolio, here's my photo, here's my design. Yeah. And he said something weird to me. He was like, we don't get the same person to do both. And that was like such a foreign thought to me.
Yep.
Wow.
But when everybody got signed at the same time, I learned real quick when I went to Interscope, I was like, oh wait, I can get paid on both. And I get paid on all this other stuff. So they're
cashing in, man.
Do you think that the I guess I'll say the influx of so many different designers and stuff coming into the game, it's just like rap.
Just like
I came in at a time where it was only a handful of artists doing it in the city. Now everybody and their mom is a rapper, and that kind of numbed the audience to like, oh man, everybody, I don't want to hear that, I don't want to hear that. Do you think that happens? I remember when the graphics thing blew up, it was only a few people, Penny Pixel, Black Cat, just guys like yourself.
Kid Styles.
Yeah, right, Kid Styles. And all of a sudden, once people learn how to do it themselves, did that drop the price? Because you saying you was getting paid pretty good. Did that mess with the money when you got guys now doing album covers for $40?
Or they doing album covers for singles. Like every song comes with an album cover.
Man.
Yeah.
I think if you're a rapper, you understand. Like back in the day, if you wanted to make an album, you had to. I mean, you could make it on your own, but you had to go to the studios. You had to make your posters. You had to be out in the streets. You know, you had to invest in yourself. There was a considerable amount of work. Like the entry level into the game was
a couple of thousands.
Yeah.
it was high. It was high in not only money, but it was also high in effort.
No question.
Videos, like
No question.
before digital cameras, $200,000 to make a video, $100,000. Like,
With no question about it. No question about it.
You know, if you were gonna do even photography, I was the first person that actually was using digital photography. Digital photography. I remember everybody was like, "This cheating." I'm like, man, look, I
You said what? They said what?
cheating.
Cause you ain't.
I mean, that's
you
You ain't shaking the
Get in the dark room.
But to me, I'm like, I get a cleaner shot, and I can go through more options faster than anybody else can. And sometimes, like even making covers is about how many options can I go through? Like how many variations can I make? How many ideas can I throw to the table? And I was just moving faster than everybody.
It's funny you said cheating, man, because this is a perfect segue, right? So, on all fronts, we got this new age of artificial intelligence, right? And AI is changing the landscape.
Ooh,
of
let's talk about
everything.
it.
From music to fashion to videos and all of this, right? So, as a designer, right, from let's just say the old school, coming into this new age,
I
right?
don't know if I want to get my strategy up on it.
You ain't got
Don't do it.
You ain't got to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But do you feel like it's cheating as a designer if you go on Photoshop and you use AI to speed up the process to go through these different options
If
that you're
anybody's
talking
going up against me, you better cheat.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't gonna beat.
That's right.
Say, man, that's what I'm talking about.
You better take whatever tools you
Look,
have available to you. Because digital cameras got better. Not everybody has a high res camera.
Yeah, you on your
Everybody
phone.
has a high res video camera.
Yep, this is true. This is true.
Freaking iPhone is.
Everybody got all the equipment and all this stuff. Back when we were like 25 years ago, we would die for it.
Yeah.
And they still making bullshit with it.
Come on, man.
So
Come on, man.
So AI, they're just gonna. Some people are gonna stand out, and a bunch of people are gonna make a bunch of bullshit.
Bro, it's just like the rap game. AI is writing lyrics for these
people,
dudes, but it'll never be able to
Yeah,
reflect.
it's trash
So
too.
when he said that, that's my mind. It's like, okay, go get AI to put you some bars together. It's still not going to be able to compete with this right here.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah,
That's
that-
true.
that-
You making some comedy or something. There's a million ways to use a tool. It's a tool,
Right.
but I think with artwork, with music, I think with all these things, you have to connect with people in some way, somehow. And I don't, anything coming out of AI, like some of it looks absolutely incredible. But if it ain't got the nuances in it, if you can't connect it, and people don't connect to it, it doesn't tell a story.
Right.
That's what it feel. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
you know,
When you see it.
Let me ask this real quick. So, because you made me think about this when you were saying I don't want to lose my thought. When an artist contacts you to do some work for them to do a cover, whatever, is it more so them telling you what their vision is? Hey man, this is what the name is. Or do you say, hey man, let me create something for you and you tell me if you like it or not?
Man, honestly, I still have a lot of people, they contact me to do covers, and first thing I ask them is like, what do they have in mind, stuff like that. A lot of times, like if it's somebody I know, like Kiki and stuff like that, like we've been working together so long, and I know his story, I know the context around it. Like we always work hand in hand.
Right.
It's never like, and me and Paul are the same way. So some things like Paul will say something and it just works.
Right.
Sometimes I'll throw something in, it just works. But we've been working together so long. It's like I said earlier, we cycle through options really fast.
Yeah.
And then when we know it, when we see it, we know it.
Right. Yeah, because even like, you did that for Power?
Yeah, we did this
Cause
together.
you can tell, cause he loves Cadillacs, and you know he loves Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this started with me and Paul were having conversations, and because it was like, this is actually when I stopped doing covers. So I just went to Paul. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna do your stuff just to keep myself somewhat in here.
Yeah.
And I did a couple for Kiki at the time, but I'll take a break for a while. But with Paul, that's when he was coming. Like Houston had peaked. It was kind of, the popularity was going down. You know, everything that gets really popular becomes uncool for a little bit after.
Right.
So we're kind of going through this phase. Like the money was drying up because of the streaming and all that. And the mom and pops were shutting down. So it was a weird time. But I was also like with Paul, I was like, right now is not a good time to keep putting your face and keep pushing the same thing out. Let's create something like a brand that represents the culture, and like that the culture is gonna feel, and then we can push it out to actually represent the culture when they see it. So that's when we did. First thing is I just put the oil derricks in his name, and then he was doing a slab guide. So we're working on that, and I wanted to put the derrick on the cover, but you know the cover has a Cadillac on it. So he was like, man, put the wreath around that. And it just ended up being the logo. We threw some drips on it. And put like a star, changed the derrick a little bit, so hopefully they didn't fuck with us. That was it. But everything's like that. It's the people I've known for a while or I vibe with, the way I like to work is, it's like a creative flow. We're bouncing ideas. We enjoy doing it. We're sitting there and, you know, so it's kind of like when new people call me and, you know, they want to know price and stuff like that. And my mind is like, man, if you want like a $200 designer, like, I don't even want to tell you your price. And I don't know you. Like, you know, I have to get to know you before even the type of work I can do, I can fuck with you, because like with the artists I dealt with, it really wasn't my art I was putting out. I was like taking what I seen in people and trying to amplify their, like take what's different about them and amplify that and clean it up and like make it pop. You know, and I wasn't really trying to market, because I come from the rave and the rock and all that. When I started doing rap, like people were like, why are you fucking with that stuff? And I was like, motherfucker, you'll be buying this shit in a couple years. Just
Right.
So, but you know, New York and LA had their beef, and that was kind of like, I was tired of listening to New York and LA music because I've been listening to it for 4 or 5 years. So I was like, man, I want to be in music. I want to make art for music. Texas, I ain't got the fucking money to move to LA or do any of that. Like, this is what I got to work with. But Texas in general, but Houston's a big fucking giant population. Like all the guys rapping, like once I jumped into that world, like Orbit kind of explained the whole thing to me. I was like, dude, fucking this is like a wonderland. I didn't know none of this shit was going on. So for me, it was like curious. Like,
how did you get in? What brought you into the rap side of it?
Orbit.
So Orbit brought you into
Orbit,
the
Kamikazes, and then Russell Washington from
Big Time
called me to do some flyers and like some, man, like these DVDs that he would sell at the flea market, which was like recordings from house parties and strip clubs. I ain't even going to the concert. I was like, man, okay, well, fuck it. Flyers. Then I met Sylvia, SPM's sister at copy.com, but she was just having trouble making a flyer. I didn't know who the fuck she was. I was like, man, you need some help? And she was like, yeah, I know. So I helped her out. And then she was like, hey, can you do this other flyer for me? Which is a Carmona car show. So I ended up doing flyers for Dope House. And then I met SPM. And I was like, man, let me do your cover. And he was like, Frost, you ain't ready. I'm like, man.
He said you weren't ready?
Yeah, I was like, I just in my mind, I'm like, man, fuck you.
He just said, hey, I can't mess with him. Like, I'm ready. Yeah, man, that is crazy, man. We got the great Mike Frost up in here, man, giving us this history on how he became who he became, man. So, did you ever make anything with anybody and they didn't like it?
I mean, they didn't tell me.
Yeah. Okay. So you never had to scrap nothing and say, all right, man, we know. Hey.
You know, I always work with people at my back. Yeah. So mostly 95% of the stuff I make, people are sitting with me.
Right. Oh, gotcha. So you collaborate more with the people. I think that's a good way to do it too. You know, sometimes when you develop that trust between the designer, like a rapper and a producer, a rapper may sit down with the producer and while he's making the track, but once I kind of know how you get down, I don't have to be there. You do your thing, and I know I'm gonna love it because we got that kind of connection, we got that kind of chemistry, man. So that's a beautiful thing. So you were around in the pen and pixel days.
Yeah.
Was that like a competition, a competitive? Did you have to compete with them for a bit? Because they had their own look, their own style.
I actually went there to try to get a job.
Early on.
Orby told me about it.
Yeah,
and I went there. I worked on like this fake cover for like 2 weeks. Went there to get a job, and they didn't give me a job.
Yeah.
So then I was like, feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck them too.
Right.
Competition now.
Why do you think they didn't hire you? What made just?
I was walking from the bathroom and I heard like, because I was walking down the hallway and I was like, all I remember hearing was, but he doesn't have an art degree. So,
Oh,
but I don't think I think it's because I told the owner like, man, you need to change your style soon because this shit's getting old.
Man, bro.
And that's like I offended him or something. I don't know the whole reason.
Yeah. Bro, I'm gonna tell you something. Had he listened to you, that may have extended the lifespan of that company for a long time. Because I can tell you from experience, I grew weary, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way towards Pen and Pixel. I worked with them. I grew weary and tired of that look.
That's the same thing after 2005 and 6, after Houston blew up.
Yeah.
Everybody was, when people see something that people are successful of, they try to imitate it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to imitate something that's already blown up, you're too late.
Nah, too late.
I didn't like all that clip art. It was, you could tell it was just a bunch of other things that just popped up in there.
Some of the early stuff, man, some of the early stuff's great.
See, when it was new, when we never saw that, it was amazing. But I can tell you, my first album dropped in '93, my first solo. And Pen and Pixel did that cover. It was my idea to be like in a block in space, flying through, because I'm a sci-fi dude. Now, by the time I got to my second album, which dropped in late '95, they had already did 1 billion covers. And they had that same look in a 2-year span. So my second album is super basic, super simple, even though they did it. I was like, I don't want all that extra stuff. I don't want all those over-the-top graphics. I grew weary of that look early. So when you told them, hey man, you need to change it up, mix it up. Like I say, had they listened to that, it might have pushed them a little further, because it didn't matter if it was this artist in Texas, this artist in Louisiana, everything started to look just alike.
Yep.
Everything started to look just alike.
And if you look, that's Pen and Pixel popped up, and that style popped up when Photoshop popped up, and the filters and all that.
Yeah.
So that allowed people to, you used to have to do things by hand or hand painted stuff like that, which you get all your 70s album covers and stuff. So that switched it up, and it made it where you could produce that kind of stuff in that style faster. And it just tons of it came out. But if we look at AI and all that, what it was a change in technology. It allowed people to come up with, Pen and Pixel was innovative at the time to come up with a new process.
No doubt.
But they didn't, you can become a slave to a process, especially when you have financial things attached to it, and you're just trying to milk it for as far as you can get it.
Yeah.
Like embracing AI, embracing these things, and changing your process up. Yeah. It's like when I stopped doing stuff for a while and came back, I changed my processes on everything. That was actually a lesson I learned from Pen and Pixel, because I went through their interview process. So I saw the way that they do things, and I was like, okay, I can understand why things look alike, because the way you're creating it is the same.
Cookie cutter. Yeah.
You got a process. You got a business process. It's a corporate business process.
Yeah, and I would assume, you correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume that in that creative type of space, it would be more beneficial to be more personable with the artist. Like, hey man, we want to give you something that's reflective of you, that reflects you. So in that regard, like, that's to me why a lot of your work don't look alike. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, he did that. Oh, he did that. Because it's no style that you lock in on and say, oh yeah, that's a Mike Frost. That's a Mike Frost. To me,
I think you gotta get. if you don't get bored of your own bullshit fast,
Yeah.
you got to get bored of your own shit and just keep switching it up.
Man, absolutely. Let me mess with you for a minute, man. Now, we named a lot of the stuff that you've done. I'm not going to mess with you and say one.
All right.
Give me your 3 favorite covers that you ever did.
Paul Wall's People's Champ, Devin the Dude's Acoustic Levitation, and man, it's really hard for me to pick a third.
The last one always hard,
man. Which one do I just like?
Dude walk up to you and say, "Man, I got
man, you know what? That the last couple things I did for Kiki for that the 25 Summers.
Okay.
Like I really like the single cover and that from that one. You know, a lot of times the third one's always kind of like the latest one I do most of the time, or like a couple in that range.
Okay.
But yeah, those. There's different ones for different reasons. I love the Resurrected because that was the first time I did a photo shoot. I literally pulled the camera out of the box for smoking weed in the office and I just spun in the office chair like this, taking pictures of them smoking. And just, so I mean, everything, you know, I have memories too, so.
Yeah, oh yeah, no question about it, man.
I would say Slim Thug's Boss of All Bosses.
Yeah.
Hey, that's hard.
Because there was a fight that came with that because I told the story before, but I was doing some stuff with Interscope, and everything was cool. And then the lady brought me in the office, and she was like, looked upset or something, and she like accused me of plagiarizing the Mike Jones cover. And I was like, well, I did that motherfucker too.
I didn't want to say it.
But at that time, I was like, you know, because everything I was doing before that was like street work.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it to be. I didn't want studio stuff. I didn't want that. I wanted to go where people were at, like, you know, get outside. And on those, I was like, you know, I'm going to actually kind of like do covers in a certain way to bring a little bit of the use of pen and pixel stuff in, bring the stuff that I'm doing in, but everything that's signed in majors, I wanted it to rep the city as hard as possible. Because I was like, I got, you know, 7 or 8 guys signed. Like I wanted every cover I did to like rep Houston as hard as possible.
When she accused you of plagiarizing the Mike Jones cover, and you told her that you did that one too. What was her reaction? I'm just curious.
She actually wanted. I had to end up redoing the Slim Thug cover.
Yeah.
Which I didn't actually like the R-rated platinum that was done because the first one was hard as fuck.
Yeah.
But she didn't like that both of them had. Like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Logo, lettering, or something. I don't have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Before a young graphic designer coming up, when you was first coming up, how do you, because this is one of the things I always wondered, because when it's certain customers, you got to give certain prices. But how do you get those prices from those customers? You know? Like, how do you pick them? Like, okay, this one, he going to get the $100 cover, and then this one here gets the $800 one, and this one here gets the $5,000.
How hard you are to deal with?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like if G Dash would come in, I need a mixtape. I'd pull the shit out of my pocket. It'd be like a condom, some weed. Like, take a picture of it, and bam, Players Holiday, let's go. Like $50, Dash. It takes like, you know, we would get it. So it just depends on how, like, depends how hard somebody was to deal with. There was a lot of people I just like helped out. But also I knew like, okay, Rap-A-Lot's coming, like, or if it's majors or stuff like that, like, all right, I've been hooking y'all up for fucking 4 years, you're about to pay.
Right.
If you want me to do this next one. It made some people mad, but you know, they still came out ahead.
How important was relationships compared to the work? Like, I know sometimes it's great, you got to build those relationships so you can keep getting the work. But I know the work has to stand out. But which one you consider to be the major thing? Is it the work or the relationship?
For me, it goes hand in hand. Like, I have a really hard time working with people I don't have a relationship with, or I don't understand them, or so it's a little bit of both. The older I get, the more like I'm not gonna deal with some of the dumb shit I used to deal with.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, the older you get, the less patience you are with it. But
Yeah.
there's a, you know, and on the cash stuff, I always did the thing like, you know, I'm gonna just move my price up every time I do something like $100, $50.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just so
gradually,
whatever place you came in line is you get charged more than the next time guy every single time.
Are there any up and coming, like, newer Houston artists that you're looking forward to working with or open to working with?
You know,
And have you worked with any of the new people?
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
None, but I didn't. I just went to that Pres D thing. I forgot what it was called with the event. I mean,
Rap economics.
the rap economics thing, and that was the first time I was like, this kind of reminds me of what it was like in 2002.
Yeah.
Like you have a whole bunch of artists here,
Yeah.
like everybody good energy, everybody's excited.
Oh, man.
You know, I spotted a couple people. Actually, that was the first time I spotted some people in the room, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should reach out.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of them can't even like even the money, like the last 20 album covers I've done, like I spend 40, 50, 60, 70 hours on them.
Yeah.
Like I'm not getting paid what it's worth.
Right.
It's I just do it. I mean, I do it because I love to do it. I get paid well from everything else.
Yeah.
But you know, that's another thing. If I'm gonna mess with new artists and stuff like that, like, you know, do I want to take that sacrifice to time? But I did spot out people that I'm like, you know, if I could help develop, you know, 8 or 9 new celebrities.
Yeah.
Which I can't do it by myself, but I'd actually got my mind ticking there. I was like, what kind of strategy could we employ to create 8 or 9 new celebrities?
Yeah, because I think that would be good because at the end of the day, you got so many young artists who, in my opinion, wouldn't even know. They don't know your history. They don't even know, I guess, the nuances of the work that you do.
No, none of them kids I met knew anything about it.
Yeah, right. But that's our job. Like just being on this platform and other platforms. I've seen you on Donnie, to where we have to expose that history. You know, the same way we talk about the rappers. Oh man, I don't know who this is. Y'all got to know the history.
Yeah, like Jaime.
Same thing. Yeah, we got to put the history of, amen, the man behind all the covers that y'all know and have seen.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be the one that had done them.
Right.
So this is the guy, not just one, not just two, multiple iconic covers in this region.
Yeah.
So, do you have any guys from the from back in the days in the era that you didn't work with that you wish you would have?
UGK.
UGK. Okay.
That was my bucket list,
Yeah.
but Jen passed away, and then
Rest in peace, Pimp.
I've done some photos of Bun and stuff, but
Yeah.
I haven't done any cover things.
He said you before you get
You?
Oh, man, I wasn't fishing for that answer, but I was really curious to know. No, but I mean,
Yeah, no,
it
actually,
ain't have to be
so I got to be honest. Like I heard the songs like the game goes on and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Some of the more popular
Yeah.
stuff you've got. And,
Yeah.
I put in some music a long time ago, but I think you were like 20 years ahead of your time because I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go interview K-Rino. I need to know his music. But I was listening to it and I was like, wait a minute, like this shit's it's even the
take you on a journey.
stuff I'm listening to back in 2008, 9,
Yeah,
before that. Some of the real early stuff has that Houston rap a lot, like that early sound.
Right.
But there comes this time I'm like, this is getting kind of hard.
Yeah, just evolve and evolve and evolve. I would assume it's the same, like with what you do. Just
But you're far ahead of your time.
Oh,
Like now, as I listen to the lyrics and the song he played, I'm like, it's actually kind of really fucking on point for today's climate.
It's a blessing, man.
I think people's ears would actually be open to hear it because they're a lot more informed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Better not say it out on all platforms.
Like that shit was dope. I mean, that really ties right into like with the government censorship and stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
Cancel culture.
Now, I got a question for y'all. So y'all see what's going on with the FBI right now?
No,
Which aspect? Go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna ask y'all.
Here we
See
go underground dialogue.
y'all see what's going on with the FBI? What they doing? Now, you know, back when I started doing album covers, like I grew up like Gulf Bank in 45, but I lived on the one white street, and there was 2 Mexican streets, and maybe a black street over here. Like it was a hood, but not really. So, but when I got into the rap game and got more educated, I was like, man, the FBI really just fucked up the black community over. The government fucked you over. They like.
Oh yeah.
They use the government to pass laws to put people in prison. Like they totally
Cold
set
tail,
up the
bro.
whole fucking situation. And now I'm looking at what's going on with what they're doing with like, I mean, people are saying far right, which is just not even far right. Like far right people are like super crazy, but the government's like, and the FBI is just doing the exact same thing. Do y'all see that?
Well, you know, it's been going on, but like you said, with the advent of social media, internet, and all that, it brings more exposure to the average person who may not even have been aware of it. They now see. Exactly. You know, even those who see it and want to be in denial, they see it. Mm-hmm. So, but it's been an ongoing process. Like Pro just mentioned, the counterintelligence program, the FBI, and you can go far back as to J. Edgar Hoover.
It started with that,
right? And he talked about in that FBI, I guess. I don't want to call it the mission statement, but just in their information, it had specifically that they wanted to prevent the rise of Black Messiah. Yeah. So this is back in the 50s and the 60s. So it's always been that attack. But now we kind of see it. The CIA had got exposed for the whole crack thing and guns in the black community. And all
Black
that.
Panthers.
So yeah, all of those organizations that they wrote down, that they put in their information that they were setting out to destroy decades ago. So the playbook has always been in place, but sometimes they'll make adjustments to the actual plays. You know?
The funny thing about that though is
Same playbook.
Same playbook.
It's not an accident.
They just put a twist on it.
Here's the thing. It's not an accident that the rap game is in the state that it's in right now.
Absolutely.
You notice how certain rappers get favorable treatment in comparison to other rappers that are more talented. And it's not even the popularity. What it really comes down to is you got these things called streaming farms.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine you got a warehouse and you got 1,500 cell phones in there, right? And each one of these cell phones is streaming the new Sexy Red album or the new whatever album 24 hours a day, 365. You know, it's very easy right now for artists to fabricate their numbers and to go gold, platinum, whatever, right? So these labels are making money off of that. The radio is going to play what they're told to play by the program directors. So it's like, okay, if we have somebody that's spreading the message that's, all right, we want to turn all these little black kids out. We want to make them all gang members and thoughts and whatever, right? I saw a video the other day. They had a bunch of little preschools.
With the gun?
No, it was a preschool teacher. And these kids must have been maybe 4 or 5 years old.
And they got them singing those lyrics.
And they got them singing, I'm out of town, thug them around, my coochie pimp, my
Pound
booty hole
Town,
around, Pound Town. And you got a little 5-year-old girl singing Pound Town.
Man, I don't even like. My daughter can play any use of rap she wants. She can play anything. She even like modern stuff. There's some good stuff, but she puts in that bullshit on it. Comes out.
It's just
and see that's part of the process because like we talked about the destruction of black organizations. We talked about the black community, the crack and guns and things. Now music is the new tool that they use to weaponize to make the same thing. So it's no coincidence why you won't see as much conscious rap being signed. Exactly. And even if it's not signed, you don't even see it getting to see the light of day in the way that it used to or the way that it should, because it takes away the balance. There's no counter to the negative rap. And the same labels that will put that out and make millions and millions and millions of dollars of it, they killing 2 birds with 1 stone because they profiting off our own destruction. And the feeding is so much, it's so one-sided, and the youth are so impressionable that we take to it because it's nothing to counteract it. So we got to teach that strategy, then combat it.
They own stocks in this private prison system.
That's right.
Right? So you really want to get these same mega corporations and labels. They also have stocks in these private
and the
private owned
food
prison
services
system.
company
Food
that-
service.
So you gonna make money off of feeding them the poison and feeding them the cure.
You're gonna make money on the back end and the front end.
The whole thing is on the string.
Exactly.
And then-
Every compartment.
Exactly.
And then I remember
Exactly.
one time me and Pro was doing some research about the frequency of the beats that they serving.
Yup.
And those frequencies of those beats was so demonic. Remember when we put it in? And it transformed your mind in a certain type of way.
It's a science.
It's a science.
It's
Yeah.
a science.
Yeah.
But these levels that we don't always think on because we haven't been taught even about the possibility that this can be even something that actually exists. So when you present it on a surface level, it's far fetched. It's like what you talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
On the
But
surface level.
the
yeah.
truth of the matter is, man, it's a absolute reality, man, that we facing every day, and we don't even understand why.
Yeah.
We,
The Matrix.
We acting like
It's a
that.
psychology. It's a psychology, even like in the jails.
Yeah.
There's a certain psychology why the walls is painted that light color. Why you gotta hear that every time the door closes.
Right.
And every time. Them keys, you gotta hear that. It's psychological.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, man.
Man, yeah, I just like what's going on. I think because I got into the rap community and I just witnessed everything, like seeing what's going on now. That's why I'm like, I've seen this before. Like I'm intimate with this story. I've seen the effects it had. I've seen the same plays. There's actually a book. I don't know if you ever heard of Professor Carol Quigley.
No.
What? You heard?
Oh, you got it. If you read his book, it'll blow your mind. So he has a PhD, but he actually all the strategies that the CIA and stuff is taught, like to overthrow different types of governments,
Right.
color revolution, and all this type of stuff.
What's the name of the book, real quick?
Get it?
You could just look up Professor Carol Quigley.
Carol Quigley. Okay.
Any of his books, but there's a book that summarizes his stuff. That's only like 250 pages. Don't get that. It's a 1,000
Get the
page
actual
book.
book.
But it breaks down every type of government, every type of system, like on how to disrupt it. And I read that, 20 years ago. So looking at it all, I'm like, yo, I've already seen, I've got all the plays.
Yeah.
And then you go tell somebody, and they're like,
That's not
crazy
real.
talk.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're a conspiracy theorist.
but the thing, the Creature from Jekyll Island, that book, I forget the name of the author that wrote it, but it talks about the money system. That was actually, they label him as a conspiracy theorist, but all he's doing is putting the stuff that Carol Quigley was teaching in class into like a consumable media form.
Right.
But Carol Quigley taught at, Harvard, Yale, PhD, so all these people in government and stuff. Bill Clinton, it was Bill Clinton's mentor.
It's a universal plot, man. It's a universal plot, and the quicker we live in a world that's on the way out.
Yeah.
So they're trying to take everybody out in the blaze of glory with them, and they're using the very thing. See, they use the very thing that you love to destroy you with.
Look at the similarities too between the Bloods and Crips, red and blue.
Republicans and Democrats.
Republicans
Yeah, I say
and
it all the
Democrats
time.
now, like riots, fighting. all
Israel
this
and
stuff.
Palestine.
We say,
You can go
we
on
say
and
it all
on.
the time.
You can go on and on and on.
The world is at 100% dissatisfaction right now.
You can. It's just the the pattern's so obvious. It's just like how's people not
Same
seeing?
thing with the guards and the prisoners.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Right. How do we use what we have been gifted with to try to combat that and change, possibly change that, or make some kind of difference?
I think the best thing you can do is just get people off of the. Everybody wants you to take sides, but if you're taking sides, like I don't care what side you're on, they're not on your side.
Yeah.
The people you're you're defending this, they're not on your side. They're working together. So you have to do the opposite pattern. So people have to come together and say, you know what, fuck y'all, both y'all parties. We're gonna pay attention to each one of y'all as an individual because we know 80% of y'all plugged into corporations, 70%. We're gonna start getting rid of you fuckers. Just keep putting in new people. But people don't pay attention to the local races. Like they vote down party lines.
Yeah.
So the quickest way for Americans to beat this shit, stop voting down party lines and research all the people you're
You
voting on.
snatched the thought right out of my head. We commit.
Like how you gonna get our gang? Like two gangs, like Bloods and Crips, right?
Yeah.
People gotta be like, fuck the Bloods and Crips. Why don't we come together? Like, we ain't gonna do this.
Yeah, North side, South side.
North side, South side. Like, let's come together. We ain't gonna do this no more.
See, we commit to the label based on tradition.
That's what it is.
My mama did this.
Yeah.
My family did this. Black people normally go with this, and we commit to that without doing the proper type of vetting and investigating to find out what it's just something that's really in my best self interest, and we don't even entertain that. But again, it's by design. So yeah, you absolutely right. We got to look at individuals, and we got to look at platforms and look at programs and decide if this is best for me and mine, not just grandma was a Democrat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't mean to take a whole thing to a political conversation too.
And then you gotta start having the gumption to do the work. A lot of times people just want it easy. They just want to be like Paris. They want to repeat what somebody else done said, and then they don't even do the research. Yeah. But the research is so important.
And I ain't gonna wait. I ain't waiting for the government have already shown me, you know, what it's gonna do, what it's not gonna do. We can't wait. We can't sit around and wait. If people are hungry, we need to feed them.
Exactly.
If people need clothing, we need to clothe and shelter them. We need to figure out ways to do all that. So I mean, if we keep falling into the same pattern of let's see what this guy's gonna do. Let's see, let me listen to his angle on it. I mean, that has not worked yet. Bro.
Yeah, your own lane.
Don't believe them polls they show you, because you don't know who they polling.
I'm actually after listening to more of your music, I'm actually interested in doing your cover because I can run you down a whole. Really, I from listening to it and seeing the stuff that you have, like creatively, I think we'd work good together.
Oh, without a doubt, man, and put something out there and make a statement, man.
I could go back to like my original sci-fi comic side, not necessarily a comic, but I can do things that I haven't been able to do for anybody else.
Well, you know, your big brother dropped the comic book. $100 bill, man.
Perfect. Set this man up.
But for me, like I working with you as an artist in the contents of the song, and that's kind of like what brought up the political stuff was.
Yeah.
And that's the way I work. Like I studied you. I see an angle. Like we relate.
Yeah.
Like I think we could do some dope shit.
I know we can.
And you know, I think we could do some shit that
the great Mike Frost.
A lot of people would fucking get into.
A lot of people are scared to do it too, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing too, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. You dealing with K-Rino, man. Whoo, boy, he gonna unplug you from the matrix, man.
Anybody scared to stand out? Like, here's one thing I always tell people: if you want attention, make a motherfucking scene.
Come on.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be like everybody else, you ain't gonna fucking stand out. Nobody give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing you have to do is you have to embarrass yourself. You have to have an idea that if you ain't nervous a little bit,
come on.
Yeah.
it
Playing
probably
too small.
it's too small.
Yeah.
Like when did Snoop Dogg come out on Twitter? They say he quit smoking.
Yeah.
It's like he's quit smoking.
I saw that. I didn't think it was real.
It might not be real, but it's great marketing because
you know when people gonna follow that trend, just like Snoop said it's not cool to smoke. I'm not smoking no more.
Because they're saying giving people heart attacks and strokes.
But you know, everybody's going this way, and the godfather of it, like, nah, fuck y'all, I'm going this way. Use media attention. Yeah, and they got huge media attention.
Part of it is too, you gotta think when you get to a Snoop Dogg's level, your ears are so high up there, you hear things that a lot of people that's down here don't get to hear. Case in point, man, ever since they commercialized marijuana, the industry has been taken over by culture vultures and big pharma and all of these people who don't even consume cannabis themselves. I know I used to work for a cannabis company. These people at the top don't even consume cannabis.
It's a commodity.
But they're selling it to everybody else, and they're adding all types of chemicals and additives, and marijuana is the new tobacco.
Yeah.
And then if you sprinkle in a little fentanyl or whatever you got going on, who knows what you're actually smoking? It's so far removed from the actual plant that they used to smoke back in the day. Now, you smoking probably 5-10 different chemicals when you smoke weed now. You don't even know what you smoke.
I don't even smoke weed that much anymore. Like, twice a year I like do a proper dose of mushrooms and just
this new weed is different, bro.
This
new weed, you have half a joint, you'll be high as a motherfucker.
That's one of the things that didn't get mentioned when we talked about the tools that they use to destroy us with what we love.
Right.
You know, marijuana has always been an example. That's one of the biggest tools that they've been using because they are doing things to make it not be what it once was. what you were saying a minute ago about not being afraid to be different, to be outside the box. So many people complain about not being able to get to the next level and whatever it is that they're doing because, but like you say, they're afraid to step out because the comfort zone. You don't want to make yourself uncomfortable, and the only way to really bust through and get to another level is to be uncomfortable at some point.
I think too. I think when like I notice even when I say something like that, like to make a scene or like don't be afraid to be different. I'm not saying try to be different because you already are different.
Right.
You just probably aren't putting out
Come on, man.
what you love.
Come on, man.
But I'm not saying go act a complete fucking clown or like tattoo a fucking pussy on your forehead or something so you can get attention.
Right.
Like I'm just saying what it is like, for every one of us, there's only so many human personalities, right? And then things start to pattern up again.
Yeah.
There's a million motherfuckers that no matter who you are, there's a million motherfuckers on the planet that is like me and KB kind of in the same thing after listening to music. There's a million people that are gonna feel what you feel and like what you like.
But they don't have a representative to speak for them.
They don't have a representative to speak for them. So you gotta be different. As in, you really have to have the balls just to be yourself.
Come on.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like,
and do it aggressively. Be yourself. Like,
Unapologetically.
Unapologetically. Be narcissistic almost. Like be like don't.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
You can't be too humble out here.
In a creative way, bro, as a writer, is many times that you writing something and it's extreme. It comes out your mind like, ooh. And then you say, should I even say that? When you ask yourself, should you even say that? That means you most likely you need to say it.
Yeah.
And there's some things you might be like, oh, but 99% of the time, say it. Because you're going to pull back on that thought, and guess what's going to happen? 4, 5 months, a year from now, you're going to hear somebody else say it.
Yep.
And it's going to impact. And you're going to say, man, I want it. But you were scared.
Especially if it rings a certain amount of truth to it.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Like if you know it's true, but it's
everybody's scared to say it.
Better not say it.
But once one person says it, they crack open that lid. Now it becomes a discussion.
Right.
Now everybody was comfortable talking about, but it always takes that one to step out on that limb. It just something like somebody got to be the one to punch the bully in the mouth. It's 15 of us standing around, but everybody's scared.
It's one of him. It's 15 of them.
One guy who hit him. He a hero. You're gonna be talking about him 40 years from now. We was in the 3rd grade, and Johnny bang caught that. So it's somebody got to be the icebreaker and the innovator, and not have a fear of consequence.
When you're
standing on truth.
When I started doing album covers, that was kind of like a moment I had like that for myself. Was I believed in it.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I love working with the artists. But I was doing like in the rock stuff and the punk rock and all that. Like I had an office with people that were doing the rave stuff, and in that, they were like not really making fun of it, but they were like not really supportive of it. They thought it was like a joke. They didn't.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, they didn't believe in it. They didn't. There's no way in hell they were going to help me work on any of it. But I had my own vision. I saw something they didn't. I knew there was no point in trying to convince anybody.
Right.
So I was myself.
Yeah.
And I made my own scene within that niche. But for me coming into the rap game doing covers, I was totally different than everybody. So I didn't change when I came. I was still a little skater kid, whatever. But I stayed myself, and I just did it aggressively within Houston's rap culture.
Have you ever had a staff?
Not really, man. I had collectives and stuff.
Cause that's one thing I always wanted to know. Cause when you know your name and your brand, have you ever thought, I can do more if I brought more people in, or do you always keep it? Well, this is going to be something that's going to be strictly a Mike Frost production.
Man, working with artists and on the music side is so personal to me, and like I love to do that so much. Like it's never gonna be nothing that I turn into Mike Frost album cover production
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
You know, advertising on Twitter for $250. Come get you 3 covers because I got 8 designers over here.
Yeah.
Because that's not
Yeah.
what I do on that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like if I'm gonna do that, I'm actually working on it right now.
Okay.
My wife's an attorney. She networks with a lot of attorneys and law firms. A lot of connections I can network there. I'm getting involved in more business groups. Like I work at Exxon at Code, so that working there 10 years, like now I totally understand the corporate world. So if I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna go start that type of business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna service the corporate world where there's real money
Yeah.
and build. Because I have to pay taxes, I have to pay employees, I have to do all that. And these companies understand what the time's actually worth, and they don't have a problem paying it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that with the music. So if I fuck with you on the music stuff,
You gotta love.
it's out of love.
Right.
Because your friends and my friend, or somebody I've been working with, and they spoke up for you, or like K-Rino, we have a relationship, but it just developed organically.
Right.
You know, I listen to music, I was like, hey, you know what, I really like this shit.
Yeah.
Music stay like that for me.
Man, beautiful.
Like it ain't even. I lose money on every motherfucking cover. I don't want to say anything.
Good time.
But yeah, I'm not trying to like quadruple my losses by expanding that business.
Yeah. I always wanted that.
But I do it purely for the city, the culture. I love it.
Man.
Man, well, when you fell in love with you?
When I realized I didn't have the money to leave. Might have been like 15. But I realized I was actually too poor to ever go to leave it. I was like,
We gotta make this work.
we gotta make it work.
Gotta make this relationship work because neither one of us going nowhere.
We gotta play the hand we're dealt.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's a big
But it was
deal.
kind of tight. Like I said, the rap community, Orbit introduced me to those, told me the stories and everything. And for me, it was like my whole city just opened up to like this whole thing I didn't even know about. So the city just grew like twice as big.
Right.
Like all the places I was hanging out up to that age,
Yeah.
now that everything just opened up to me. So like going to the shows, like all the underground shows, like Jamaica. Like,
Yeah, you go.
like I was like, man, it's like I saw UGK perform that. This shit was, I was like, man, this is amazing.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's beautiful about Houston. Is that time you come up, we support our own, and you can make it out here with just Houston.
No,
Then it moved to, because Houston is sort of like the heartbeat of Texas to me. And then, then you'll move to Dallas, San Antonio, everybody and stuff.
Let me ask you this too, because knowing all of the work that you have put in and the contributions you made to this culture, do you like sometimes seek the recognition for what you've done?
Every
Or
time
you
I do a
kinda-
cover.
you kind of laying low, like I ain't really tripping.
Every time I do a cover, I'm trying to get head on it.
Right.
Do you put secret things in your design?
Sometimes.
I was just about to say.
I just told you I like to do mushrooms like twice a year.
Because I know I do. I know James do. I was like, I wonder if he does that. Because they put secret things in there just to say, well, you don't know, but it's something in there that's going to see me.
I mean, I actually print it out and like look at it on the phone. So I'm like, okay, how far do they have to zoom in to actually see it?
Wow.
Like to make sure it ain't too
Science.
I know that.
Layers.
It's Easter egg hunts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. But I mean, like, it got to be something, man, to see all these covers and things that you've done, and you just walking through Walmart, and then somebody's probably just playing something, and they don't even know this dude is that dude. You know what I'm saying? Do that bother you? You kind of like, I ain't tripping on that part of it.
It don't bother me. Like I love it.
Yeah.
Anytime like I go to a baseball game and like Jordan is playing Still Tipping, or I like the fact that that I'm a part of. I was young and had the feelings of never gonna be. I want to be an artist. I'm never gonna be in entertainment. I don't have enough money. It's too far away. You know, parents. You know, they're lower middle class. Or upper low class, whatever. I remember that feeling. So now, I'm 47, and just that journey of going through the different musics, getting into the rap industry, to us getting kicked out, chased away from places. Like I remember everything to know where we're at now and know I had a hand in something that was so transformative for the city.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do it myself. You know, it was everybody.
Right.
But to be, you know, my job's an artist, and to be the artist that, like, when people think of that and they think about the music and they think about the memories of that music, I'm in everybody's head. It's like in the city.
Right.
Yeah, you're part of history.
And it's a positive thing. Like I felt like I took my insecurities of wanting to go to LA and be a big artist and stuff, and to do that here in Houston, man, I wouldn't.
It's amazing.
If somebody gave me the opportunity to go to LA at 16 back then and do like Eminem and Dr. Dre and all that stuff, and I wouldn't trade that for what I did here.
Wow.
Oh, I wouldn't. To me, there's no way. There's nothing that can beat it.
You ever told anybody who you are and what you do and they didn't believe you? Oh yeah, I did that. Man, come on, shut up, man.
It's kind of funny. So sometimes, because I'm trying to network around like Houston businessmen and like, because I'm about to start a corporate design company.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, man, you know, it's 50-50 chance. I'm like, y'all, you from Houston? Because they're always like at networking events, they ask what you do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, well.
Yeah.
Man, it's a chance. I'm gonna throw it out there. Maybe I'm a Swisher House fan.
Yeah.
But though, you know, they'll tell me about, oh, I'm into this business and that. And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, So I use it like that. I'm like, all right, if I can drum up a story in a relationship and like keep this conversation going, this guy might be a finance guy, a business guy. It might be like a thing.
But that's the funny thing about that is hip hop and rap is universal, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't imagine you coming up in the 90s seeing how far this thing has come, because when you said that your counterparts that were in the rave and the rock and roll industry were kind of like, you know, like not supportive, were kind of laughing like he's still gonna rap. Like I remember hearing people saying that hip hop and rap was gonna be a fad and it'll be gone in 10 years. It'll be gone in 5 years. Now fast forward, we just hit the 50-year anniversary of hip hop, and this shit is the biggest, highest selling genre in the world right now.
You know, one lesson I learned, like the friends I had around me, you know, learned that lesson. I've learned it several times. Like, you know, Drake was sitting on a house party on my couch. Like, you know, he was down here with Rap Lot and those guys and stuff. Saw him several times, never talked to him before he blew up. There was other artists, you know, that's happened with. Man, never underestimate anybody that's next to you.
Come on, man.
If they want it bad enough and they got the drive,
They're gonna do it, man.
they're gonna do it. So don't ever underestimate any person.
You don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. You just see them standing there chilling. You don't know what kind of work they put in. I remember years ago we did this show at the Palladium on the North Side, and guy opened up for us, and he was breakdancing and windmilling, and it was like, this is a weird dude.
Who was that?
It was Vanilla Ice.
Oh, really?
Within a year, it was MTV. Hey, man, that's that dude, man. So you just never know, man. But
That's right.
let them know where they can find you, Mike, man. Anything you got going on, your social media and everything.
Everything's at SLF EMP at Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I'm working on a site right now for the book, where I'm actually gonna start inviting people through social media. Like I'm posting up the covers and pictures that are gonna go in the book. But I want people to come in and like I'm putting the forms up where you can type in your stories and all that stuff. Because for the book, I want to collect the fans' side stories, the people in the pictures that were in the scene, the artists, and then I'll add my part to it for the book stuff I put together.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Get it behind the scenes of like behind the artwork. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't remember those VH1 behind the music. You know what I mean? But you're behind the graphics.
You know, I was gonna say this earlier. I think people watching the show, if you're an artist, it's good advice, right?
Do it, yeah.
If you look at like Jay-Z or Beyonce or any of the really big stars, you don't see them motherfuckers every day on social media doing reels, like whoring themselves out. One thing I learned back before the iPhone when I was doing album covers, and I learned this quick. Every time I do a cover and put out a different campaign, because this is a snapshot. That's all people see. So if you control your image and just stay back, they don't see it again until the next snapshot when you put out that marketing campaign.
Mhm.
Now you can actually start telling a story.
Right.
But if you're on, social media and you're putting like low quality content out every single day,
Yeah.
like I think you lose a bit of control of your narrative, and that you should actually, not saying wait as long as like Jay-Z because you're not that big, but you should you should craft your story and not just put up as much nonsense.
Everything's strategic.
I agree. I agree with that. This is a question I forgot to ask.
It's creative. It's creative. It's not begging for attention. You're actually thoughtfully entertaining people.
And you're not wasting time and space.
Softly entertaining people.
This is what I want to ask you before we go. Who are some of the artists that you like their work? Like, hey man, I'm a big fan of this guy. Whether it be graphic artists or just anybody, period.
Who am I a big fan of?
Yeah.
Devin the Dude is one of my favorite artists.
I mean, like
Graphic way.
Graphic
like what
designer?
you do. Yeah.
I know the comic book covers for Marvel. There's some people that paint for Marvel. I'm a huge fan of Kirby, like the original, the guy. A lot of Marvel artists.
Yeah.
That does like graphic design like I do.
Yeah. Covers anything, just any type of that in that world, in that lane.
Man, like I can't think of their names, but I know the covers. Like the dude that used to paint all the movie posters, like the Big Trouble in Little China, or like the Dune posters, or the Star Wars.
Back in the day,
he had that painting style. Like I forget his name, but like that guy.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm really not fans. I'm a fan of work, and I know these people's work. But like whoever's doing the video intros for like Daredevil, the TV series, or if you go to what was that HBO one with the like all the robots in the town, Westworld. Like the intro to Westworld. Like there's somebody doing these intros to a lot of these TV series, like like Neil Gaiman's American Gods. I don't know if you've seen that series, like the intro scenes to that. Whoever's doing that shit is badass. I'm like a huge fan of that.
Last question for me. Now you said you do photography and graphic design. Do you ever do any video?
To this day, I've not shot a music video, but I do video for Exxon all the time.
Okay.
I haven't, it's a funny thing. Every time I like want to go do a video, I don't want to go buy a video camera. And there's like always another video guy on the thing. And I just get the vibe real quick, like they just want to take control of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll back off. But I do want to do a video. And I think I know the first one I'm gonna do. I think me and D Will we picked out a song that we both, it's one of our favorite songs that I think we're gonna do a video on.
Okay.
Man, the great Mike Frost is here, y'all.
We learned that one, man.
Follow him on all the platforms, man, and familiarize yourself with this man, because again, I'm gonna say it for the 985th time. He is a foundational piece and woven into this culture as much as any rappers, any producers, any of that. Because everything ties together. The music, the production, the artwork, the visuals, all these things make the audience fall in love with whoever they fall in love with, man. So we appreciate you coming through, man. You're welcome anytime. So much love to you,
man. I appreciate y'all having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was good.
Catch y'all next time on the Underground Dialogue Podcast, where the name speaks for itself. It's your big brother K-Rino.
And your boy Keith Stove.
Hey, Young Pro.
Hey, Young Pro in the building.
Boy Mike Pro.
Peace and high grease. What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. And check this out, man. The Underground Dialogue Podcast is offering advertising opportunities, man. You can promote your business. You can promote your video, your song, whatever it is that you have, man. Reach out to us if you're interested in promoting on the Underground Dialogue Podcast. All you got to do is email us at undergrounddialoguepodcast@gmail.com. Get it. And man, look, we got some merch that's gonna blow y'all mind. It's gonna blow y'all. When y'all see the merch, y'all gonna be wanting to just dive through the screen.
We got some coming for you, man. We building, man. We building. So watch that thing grow.
Already.
I wonder if they ready. They ain't ready to have this conversation. Or these kind of conversations. But guess what? We gon' have them anyway. Underground dialogue. We gon' tell the truth. We ain't scared like a lot of y'all. Matters who they are. Do we bow? No, not at all. Dropping bombs on this wicked world, so it gotta fall. Underground dialogue. We gon' tell the truth. We ain't scared like a lot of y'all. Matters who they are. Do we bow? No, not at all. Dropping bombs on this wicked world, so it gotta fall. From the industry to the Oval Office, we expose the darkest motives of them all and disclose what the protocol is. Thinking and moving logical, stopping every maneuver possible, and apologizing for truth is not optional. We gon' help you with what you go through, reshape and mold you, and sweep over them weak lies they told you. If you living with no clue, we gon' deprogram the old you, and you get to keep your soul too.